What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Legendary Ledger Special Edition. This is our Scorchers edition, and it's based upon a show that we're not completely hijacking, known as Hot Ones. We're only hijacking most of the concept here, and we're going to be eating spicy wings today. I am Mr. Tom Bailey, TV radio broadcast teacher here at North Side High School, and I'm joined today by the esteemed Mr. Matt Mertes.
Yeah, thanks for having me, I think. So.
Are you scared yet?
A little bit.
All
a little
right.
bit, yeah.
Well, we'll get right down to it. The premise of the show is we're going to be eating wings that get hotter and hotter, and I'm going to be asking spicier and spicier questions as we go through here.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start with the first wing. First sauce is the classic. All right. Now that you had your first wing, I always took you for a huge music fan, right? So
Yeah.
What is your favorite musical band out there?
My favorite band ever is Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
No kidding.
No, I've always, from the time I was a kid, I had an uncle who was more like an older brother to me. He was pretty close in age, and I really looked up to him. And so I heard Born to Run and The River when I was I heard Born to Run when I was like 4 years old, probably. The River when I was probably 10, and then Born in the USA came out when I was a teenager. And as I've gotten older, I just kind of felt like his music spoke to me a little bit.
Right. So you had the original cassette tapes that you were
Oh
listening
yeah.
to, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of old LPs.
No kidding.
I'm not sure where they are. They have.
Well, I remember in the 80s that, because I'm a little bit younger than you, but not much younger, but I remember that Bruce Springsteen was kind of like a force of nature, and that Born in the USA, that song played on the radio incessantly in the early 80s.
Yeah, and it was also like completely misinterpreted by politicians who thought it was a, I'll play this and you should vote for me song, when it was really kind of a protest song about the way people had been treated when they came back from the war. And
well, my dad being a Vietnam vet, he made sure that I understood that.
Right.
So. All right, next wing up. Our next sauce is Dawson's hot sauce, cedar smoked garlic, and this one is one of my favorites, but you be the judge of that. Here you go.
it was a little thicker.
Yep.
Ah.
All right, cheers.
That's right. I like this one too.
I like that company's stuff. I have a couple things from Dawson's.
Yeah. What is it? What am I tasting? There's something almost citrusy in it.
It is white wine vinegar.
Oh, wow.
White wine vinegar.
So
If I had to
it
pick.
used to be citrusy, I guess.
So now that you've gotten to the second wing, what's the worst hairstyle that you've ever had? What's the absolute worst haircut or hairstyle you've ever had?
Well, I know the temptation would be to say a mullet based on my age and stuff, but I had a job during the mullet phase for a company that required that your hair never touch your collar. So
So you dodged that bullet.
I've dodged that bullet, but frankly, I've just never really been blessed with great hair. So it's just been kind of one bad hair day after another for the last 50.
So you've been stuck with the spike this whole time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not a variety.
Don't have to comb it,
Embarrassingly enough, I did have a mullet in 6th grade, and
Nice.
it was egregiously bad. Like my parents were like, "You have to keep it nice in front," because I wanted to grow my hair long. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play like metal guitar, like Metallica and stuff, and my parents wouldn't let me do it. So my 6th grade picture is me with a polo shirt on that my mom, it was real expensive, like real polo, said like had the. And then, in complete contrast, this terrible short hair, kinda, and then ugly mullet. And so that was the absolute worst hairstyle that I've ever had. We're gonna have to edit that into the cut.
Oh,
here.
that picture would be pretty good.
All right, third wing up. Our sauce is Secret Aardvark Habanero hot sauce, and I like it. right, cheers.
Sweet. I like this one too.
Now, I don't know if the students realize this or not, but at one point in time, you were a kid.
Yeah, yeah. Oddly enough,
And when you were a child, obviously you had some things that impacted you that like caused you to decide to become an educator. What are some of the moments from your childhood that made you decide to become an educator?
well, in what I'm sure is the most geeky teacher answer possible, I just always really loved learning, and I loved going to school. I mean, even as a little kid, I didn't like try to figure out a way to get to not go to school. I tried to like make sure I could go, and I was fortunate to have some teachers when I was young that really kind of made the job look fun too. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that thought there was something really cool about the idea that somebody would pay me to go to school. And it's played out. I still, 29 years in, I still really enjoy every day. I look forward to coming in. Getting up in the morning kind of garbage still,
right.
even after all this time. But the drive into school, I'm not dreading it. I'm looking forward to the day. And I don't know that there's too many jobs where you get to feel like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. That's one of the coolest things that I experience. I look forward to seeing, these young adults. Although as a child, if you'd asked me I was going to be a teacher, that wasn't going to be in the cards at all. All right, so next wing, fourth wing up is our sauce is ginger goat, peaches, and scream. Pour warily because it goes pretty quick.
Ooh,
All right,
sure did.
bottoms up. It's candy to me.
It was good.
Wait. Here it comes. So, you, just like me, taught at Elmhurst High School before you were teaching at Northside. What was it like there?
It was like teaching at a small town school I think would be like, where like it was essentially Waynedale High School, and so the people that went there were all people who had, or a lot of them were people whose parents had gone there, and there was a lot of that kind of familiarity to it, and I had kids whose grandparents had gone there, obviously their parents, their grandparents. There was a teacher there who had essentially helped lay the bricks, and it was a neat community. It was a small school. I think the most students that were ever in the building when I was there was slightly under 1,000. And so everybody knew everybody, and there was none of that the kind of stranger in the hall feeling when you walk by and you're like, do I know you type thing. Everybody knew people. It was a great place to start out as a teacher because the staff was a pretty veteran staff when I got there, and so I had a lot of people to learn from the beginning, and also a lot of people, hey, you probably don't want to do that because you're going to screw that up, or don't do this, don't do that. I developed some pretty legitimate sinus problems from all the quarry dust.
Right.
But it was
part of the charm.
Oh yeah, but it was a wonderful place.
No air conditioning?
None. No. Also, the windows in my classroom, there was a small gap between the edge of the window and the beginning of the bricks that you could like pass paper. You could pass paper through it. But it was just the neatest place, and I made friends there that are 30 years ago that are still good friends today, and it really reinforced for me that was what I wanted to do for a living.
Right.
So.
Well, and then you got here, and that presented its own set of opportunities, right?
Right. When they first proposed closing the school, which was 3 years before they actually did, it was kind of, the writing was kind of on the wall. And in previous examples of school closures, what they did was they just farmed the teachers out to wherever there was an opening and so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to control where I could go. And there were a couple of things that really made North Side attractive to me. Demographically, it was and is a very diverse, community of students and teachers. It was a lot closer to home, and also my grandpa had taught here. My grandpa was I'm pretty sure was one of the original faculty in this building when it opened.
Yeah, I saw his picture in one of those old archaic yearbooks.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I remember asking you about that, like Mertes. That's an
yeah. There's
interesting name.
not too many of us. So and he had retired by the time I was born, but I thought there would be something cool about going back to where he had been, and I've been here longer now than I was at Elmhurst. So it from the beginning it's felt like home, and
still feels that way.
yeah, it does really. I've been happy.
All right, well, we're going to do the next wing. Next wing up is going to be ginger goat, the original ginger goat. Same kind of pour, although it looks like we've got some ginger stuck in the end there. So I'll take one for the team. Oh yeah. Well, let me give that a shake for you so it pours a little easier. But here you go.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, that's the ginger. You can see that there. That's probably enough.
All right.
You don't have to push the limits on this.
Appreciate that.
I know that you were a sports coach in a lot of different capacities. What's been your favorite experience as a sports coach?
I coached baseball for a couple of years and girls basketball for several years. Never as a head coach, as a varsity assistant. I started out coaching freshmen and kind of worked my way up. My favorite experience coaching was in my last season was the 98-99 girls basketball season. It was my son was born in the middle of the year, and so I knew that was going to be it. And we won the first sectional that Elmhurst girls had ever won in basketball after in several decades, and it was we won sectional, won the regional, ended up losing a game away from going to the state finals, and it was just a great experience, a great group of kids that I still have contact with today, 20 some years later. One of them is my daughter's dentist, and it was a really cool experience to have, and it was especially cool because I knew I was done. So.
How's that wing treating you? A little soon
good.
to ask there.
It's good though. I'm feeling that one a little bit, maybe a little bit more than I expected.
But was I right to put the sweeter one first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're starting to where we cross the 5 threshold. We're on number 6 here. So our sauce right now is Cocoa Ghost Hot Sauce by Queen Majesty. Now, I love this stuff, so do not feel that you got to do what I'm about to do to this wing.
Yeah, I will not.
So, if you weren't a teacher, what would you do instead?
I would have gone to law school. It's always been an interest of mine, and I'd even considered it a couple of times. When Indiana Tech briefly opened their law school, I had thought about maybe seeing if I could do it that way. Not necessarily to leave teaching, but it's just always been something that interested me, and something I think I would have been good at.
Because you would have been arguing with whomever you got paid to argue against. You would use Indiana code and law against them and jurisprudence and things like that.
Indeed, yeah. Sometimes it's easier just to out-logic people.
Right. I'm not very good at that, so I usually have to just be loud. That's starting to kick in.
Yeah, that one's...
All right. Next one up is 13 Angry Scorpions, Jekyll and Hyde, way too hot, barbecue-style hot sauce. Scorpion peppers in it.
I didn't even know there was such a thing as a scorpion pepper, man.
All right, now you do not have to follow my lead. This is where things get a little steamy. Bottoms up. That's good stuff.
Oh, I could taste the barbecue for a second. Jeez.
Then all of a sudden somebody turned on the oven.
Wow.
So, what is the craziest, funniest, like completely crazy thing that has happened in your classroom or in your teaching career? Besides eating that.
Yeah, this is ranking up there right now, but I don't know if it was crazy. It was weird. My first year teaching at Elmhurst, we had a principal who really was going out of his way to try to help kids graduate. And also a school that was probably 30% empty. And so they allowed a young woman to re-enroll. She had dropped out her junior year, had joined the military, because back then you could join without a diploma or a GED, got married, had a couple of kids, and was pregnant with her third child, finished her service and decided, she wanted to have a high school diploma. She wanted to set an example for her kids. And so I was a 23-year-old teaching a U.S. history class that on the second or third day I was a teacher, had a student in it who was 24. So I was teaching U.S. history to somebody older than me in a high school, who then missed the day before Thanksgiving because she had her baby, and then came back to school the next Monday.
As if nothing happened.
As if nothing had happened. Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on? Why are you here? So I got to graduate.
Man, that's dedication.
Yeah.
To the country and to education.
Oh, absolutely. And then my first year here, I'm in my old classroom, and one of the counselors walks up with this young man and brings him in. He's a transfer from Southside, and I look at this kid and I'm like, I know this kid from someplace, and I won't say their name, but I said, wait a minute, is your last name so and so? And he's like, how do you know that? And he's like creeped out because I said, I think your mom was one of my students, and I said, in fact, I think she gave, is your birthday like in late November? And he's just really creeped out at this point. And he's like, how do you know all this? I said, your mom was pregnant with you when she was in my history class. It was the weirdest thing, to have that giant gap of time pass, and then to have somebody walk in who, he looks just like his mom. So I guess that probably is fairly high on the weirdometer.
All right, we're at number 8. Our sauce is the classic Pepper X edition. Once again, you do not have to follow my level of stupidity.
Holy criminy!
And it's a quick one. It's a quick one.
Hopefully you got that. Holy criminy, those big kid words. Wow.
Your eyes about came out of your eyes.
Well, and I did it too. So. We'll see.
But you're not obligated to take all that sauce.
Well, that's a sneaky one too. At first kind of time it touched my tongue, I was like, well, this is kind of buttery. And now, oh my God.
It's the vinegar.
Yeah.
It's the vinegar
something.
style of that. Well, what advice would you give to a new teacher? Because it's spicy to be a teacher these days, just like that win.
That was good.
What advice do you have for them?
I guess one of the things I would say to a new anything, a new teacher, a new whatever, is it's hard. It's a profession. It's not an occupation. It's not, you're not going in someplace and just taking a job that you're going to leave when you go find a better job. That And so it's supposed to be hard. And to just stick with it, and also, if you can, put down roots. I think one of the great benefits to me as a teacher was that I got hired at Elmhurst, and I got hired at Elmhurst hoping to get a job at Northrop. That's where I'd done my student teaching, and I liked the staff, I liked the community. I thought it'd be a great place.
Even though you went to Snyder High School,
Yeah.
you wanted to go
Yeah.
teach at Northrop.
Absolutely. And
I don't know if that's allowed.
it was it wasn't well received, but you know, once I got to Elmhurst at the end of the first year, I thought this is all right, you know, and also there wasn't anything that opened at Northrop at the time, and I thought I'll stay here. I like it here, and you know, I've told you this before. I would have spent my career in that building, and I think that, and then coming here was kind of just the same thing.
Right, well, admit it, you're gonna stay in this.
Oh yeah. I have no desire to go anywhere else. And that's part of it, is I think the importance of putting down roots and becoming, you know, established someplace. I don't necessarily have to deal with a bunch of as much nonsense as newer people, not because I'm better, but because I'm a known commodity.
You're venerated.
That's
yes.
I'm old.
Yes.
But you know, the fact that I'm a known commodity, you know, it's not like the next person or whatever, and that, I think that has made my job easier. And I think it's probably made me better at it, because I'm not learning new norms all the time. Like this is me, this is where I work, this is who I work with.
Right. Well, we're getting toward the end. We're at sauce number 9, extra mean green by PuckerButt Pepper Company. This is real hot.
I gotta be honest, this is the one I've been fearful of the most.
Oh, well, it is correct to be fearful of it. And it's a fast pour, so just fair warning.
All right.
I should wait till you can just dab it if you want.
Yep,
There you go.
there we go.
Right.
All
All
right,
right,
sir.
Cheers. All right. So, the way you're motivated right now to get through this ring and this challenge, what is it that continues to motivate you to keep teaching and to keep everything new and to stay on top of things and fresh as a teacher? Because the kids change, the challenges change, but at the same time, you are the X factor in all this. So what is it that keeps motivating you to move on?
I think, holy crud, man. I think that one of the things that I'm fortunate for is the subject I teach. You know, government and economics. There's always a currency to that, and there are also, dude, that was a good one. There's also an importance to understanding what are my rights. You know, who can do what? Where can I say no? That's the line. In economics, you know, we have a couple of generations of financial fools who have made terrible decisions on a personal level, and I think that what I have found is that the more I can make it relevant for the kids, the more useful it will be long term, and the more I can convince them of that, maybe, the more success I have in the classroom. Right. So I don't, you know, we don't memorize presidents.
Right.
We don't do a ton of supply and demand graphs.
Right.
No
Malthusian crisis points or anything like that?
Zero.
No. All right. Well, you've survived this far, and we have reached the last dab. The last dab Apollo, in case you're wondering, 2.5 million Scoville units, which actually is not that different from that. So,
how many were in this?
Like 100. So it becomes a geometric progression, right? It has a curve to it that goes up toward infinity. And this is as close to infinity as we could get for today. Now, I could have gotten to bomb, but that doesn't taste good at all. It's not even technically as hot as this. It just tastes like battery acid.
Okay.
So I figured we would do something that was challenging and it wouldn't exactly like taste like battery acid. Like just, it's acid, just not battery acid. So that's even getting me at this point, the previous one. But
Yeah, my lips are pretty legitimately on fire right
but
now.
you're surviving quite well. So if you can do that one, this is like, you know, it's not. This is 4.5. This is fourth gear. That's fifth gear. Right there.
All right.
So we can do this. It's on. It's on.
Yeah.
You don't have to do all that though.
Oh, I
You
won't.
can see the tears coming down my chin.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
can.
not- It's not easy.
My nose is starting to run. My eyes hurt. Throat hurts.
All right. And this one we're cheersing. Cheers.
All right.
All right. Tastes good, don't it?
It does taste good.
Wait 10 seconds. Here's question number 10. So what is it like being honored as Teacher of the Year as you hide behind that napkin?
You know, it's legitimately the most meaningful acknowledgement of my efforts, right? And I mean, you've been named Teacher of the Year. You know this. There are a lot of people in this building who could get that award every year. And
Absolutely.
and to be acknowledged was a huge deal. You know, to be a finalist was a huger deal. And I guess I can't really conceive of a higher honor. You know, you can win other awards and things, but when it's an award that's kind of based on the day-to-day grind and on kind of a big picture of what are you doing, it was hugely meaningful to me.
Right.
And in a sense, I'm kind of glad that it happened later in my career, where I could reflect a little more on it and think about what I could have done differently then, or what I'm doing differently now. It was profoundly moving. It really was, and I don't know another way to describe it.
Right. Well, you're one of, because our mascot is the Legends, but you're one of the teachers that we name as being one of the honorary mascots of being a North Side legend, right? Your work here has been legendary. Think about you, Dale Dorfler, Patty Martone, a lot of the greats that have taught here being a legend. So there was we thought of a lot of people's names that would fit honorary legends to be the real mascot here, and you're one of them. And your students say that about you as well. So.
That is that's very generous and not too certain that I'm deserving of being included in that group of people. There have been some just absolutely amazing teachers here, during the time that we've been here, before the time we were here. The awards program last night, you heard the names of the awards that were given.
Right.
Our library is named after.
Well, and there's some people that left even who contributed a lot in a very short amount of time, especially when we were in the lead process, that are worthy of a lot of honor for what they've done. I was thinking like Deb Burge.
Oh, absolutely.
She was a heck of an algebra and geometry teacher here. Greg Rare, a lot of those guys that they not only being great teachers, but had contributed in coaching and and other things around here. So, but now you've been publicly honored. I mean, it was just a matter of time, but because we all knew you deserved it a while ago. But you have, in addition to being Teacher of the Year, you've also survived something more important, which is the gauntlet of these 10 sauces, right? So
I appreciate that, and not gonna lie, I was more than a little nervous, and
You're not regretting it yet, are you?
Oh no, I'm in a fairly legitimate amount of pain, but it's good pain. It's like post-workout pain, that accomplished feeling.
Oh yeah. Well, now that you've made it as Teacher of the Year and you made it through the 10 wing sauces, what do you have for either this camera or this camera or this camera? What would you like to say to the world?
Please do your homework. Please. I don't give that many assignments. Please. I want you to graduate. And also, This is exceptionally good. Didn't hurt. I like the Aardvark one was really good. Was this the?
That's the barbecue sauce.
The barbecue sauce one was really. I like that one. But you don't need to prove yourself with these. Save those for
coming on the show.
Yeah, save those for coming on the show. And thank you for having me. I
It
really
was
appreciate
a pleasure, man, Mertes. Thank you for coming on
Thank you,
today.
sir.
All right.
All right, man.